Glad to be here with you guys. Always a pleasure. Hi, everybody out in the world. Media Composer 5.5 we announced back in February, and we're shipping starting in early March. So we've got it here at the booth, and really excited about it because customers have had a chance to take delivery and already using features like phrase find extensively and really enjoying the benefits that it's giving to them. I think it's probably the feature that is the most interesting across all segments. It doesn't really matter what kind of work you're doing. You're going to be able to use phrase find to really speed up your editorial work. So just to recap what it is, Avid has had script sync in its Media Composer line for quite a while, exactly. And just to remind everyone how that works, you bring in a script, and then what happens is Script Sync will actually index all of the audio that's in your bins, and then it's able to analyze that and then line the clips up automatically to the script. So it really speeds up the work. You can actually select a line in the script inside of Media Composer, and it will take you to all the takes that are in the bins that line it up. So it's amazing because, let's say you have 7 takes, you can just quickly click on the line and then watch each of the different takes, and the editor and the director are able to choose the one that they want really easily. So what we were finding is that a lot of customers were using ScriptSync to search for tools for text in the bins. They were like, well, we'll just use this to find some clips because it works so well. So instead of having to use the full ScriptSync option, we realized that we could just take the phrase find capability and put it into our new find tool, which was also enhanced in 5.5. And what that does is allow people to now, in the find tool, you type in a word, and wherever that word appears in your bins, it pops up right away, and you can immediately use it to edit. So again, you're doing a video interview, like maybe this one's live, you're not going to edit it, but if we were doing this on tape and you wanted to find every time I said phrase find, you could type that in, and it would just give me a marker for each of an endpoint for each place that it came up. So it really speeds up the process. Think of reality TV, documentary, anywhere where you've got a lot of footage and normally we'd have to transcribe or log all that stuff. So by using phrase find, you can avoid a lot of that front-end work. What we say is phrase find does the listening for you. So you don't have to. You don't have to sit there and pay attention while you're capturing and do all that stuff. No logging, no sending out all your tapes for transcription first. Just put them right into Media Composer and search whenever you want to find it. It comes with a variety of language packs. So you can do UK English, American English, French, German, Spanish, and a few others. Those are all optional. And a customer of ours said, this is great. I get to edit in Spanish even though I don't speak it. It's like that's the kind of thing that phrase find really enables. So
no, it's an option. Right?
Yeah, that's right. It's an option. But if you're on 5.0 and you buy phrase find, we'll give you the upgrade to 5.5 included in the price of phrase find. And the same thing with script sync, and we actually offer a bundle, so you can get script sync and phrase find together for a bundled price off our web store. So that's pretty cool.
Are you finding that when people are buying the new 5.5 that they're going for that option?
Absolutely.
Immediately?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we've made it easy to do with that upgrade price that I just mentioned, and it's a brand new version, it's a brand new product, so people are waiting to see what the results are. But the sales have been great, and people are really excited about the capabilities. I mean, even here, I just show people on the pod, and they're like, "Wow, I gotta get me some of that. That's really amazing." So yeah, we're having a lot of success with it. So phrase find is great. I mentioned the upgrade. We have a lot of people still believe that Media Composer is a really expensive product. This is something you say, oh, Avid, that's expensive. I just want to remind everybody that we have a very affordable software price. And actually, I want to mention also that we have a great upgrade promo for Final Cut Pro users, actually, that we announced this week. So
I've heard a little bit about that, where there's a cross-grade. Is that what you guys are calling it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you see, let's talk a little bit more about 5.5, and then we can put this cross-grade into a little bit of context. You remember with 5.0 that we announced last year at NAB, it was the first time that Avid was using non-Avid hardware. We had the support for the Matrox MX-02 Mini, right? So everyone's doing file-based workflows now. You don't always have to capture from tape. And a lot of people, if you want to add capacity, you're not going to go and buy a full-on other system. So just give me the ability to monitor. I want to get a, affordable HDMI monitor. The MX02 has these great calibration tools built right in. So you can get a pretty affordable setup and still be able to confidently monitor your work. So that's great for adding capacity or a satellite system, or maybe you're working portably, doing dailies that are coming to you on a disk or something like that, and you just want to be able to monitor. So the MX02 Mini is perfect for that. But now with 5.5, we've taken that one step further, and we've added support for HAA's I/O Express box. So that gives you frame-accurate VTR capture and output. So for those who are still having to work with tape, and as we know, tape remains a pretty important part of the television production process. Maybe not so much for acquisition, but definitely for delivery. Tape is still what most shows are delivered on. And
if you can find
well, that's another problem. I hear the D5 guys are pretty happy right now, but anyway, another question. Anyway, so I/O Express gives you that frame-accurate VTR input and output. And the thing about both those devices is they are popular with Final Cut Pro users. Now, 5.5 also is the first version where we've been able to implement support for what we're calling the Avid Artist Series. And those are, remember last year we talked about Euphonics, right? So the Euphonics devices have all been rebranded. It's now the Artist Series from Avid. And those continue to work with all of the great partners they always did. So you can use an artist controller with Autodesk Smoke, with Final Cut, with Assimilate, with a bunch of different products that are on the market, and that's an important thing for us. As openness is a big deal at Avid these days, so we keep that up. Those devices work with Media Composer and Pro Tools, but they also work with Final Cut. So let's also think back to last year at NAB. We talked about QuickTime support through AMA, including ProRes. So as you can start to understand, we've got hardware devices that are used by Final Cut and Media Composer in the I/O Express and the MX02 Mini, the Artist Series controllers. We have footage that can be shared back and forth between the two of them, right? We have Final Cut, which is qualified to work on our Unity storage systems, our shared central storage systems. And now we have a great cross-grade promotion price of $1,000 for anyone who's using Final Cut so they can get into Media Composer. And you can see that you can have both of these tools working together, sharing footage, sharing hardware devices, sharing controllers, sharing central storage, and letting people use the tool that they want to get their work done, but still take advantage of incredible features that are only in Media Composer, like phrase find, like script sync, like real-time mix and match. These are all the great things that Media Composer offers that you can't get in other NLEs. So easily add that, use all that shared hardware. You don't have to buy a new rig. It's a really interesting way for people to start thinking about how they work and equip themselves.
I think I'd heard there was a new ISIS solution at the show as well. Is that the 5000 line?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's ISIS 5000, but we now have a 16 terabyte version. So this is a smaller, really right size for post, right size for customers who are not huge installations. ISIS is a very robust and reliable system. You can have a lot of clients, you got a lot of bandwidth out of it, but might be overkill for some applications. So by coming out with a 16 terabyte version, we'll be able to offer one that's at the right size and the right price for some post-production companies. Some other stuff in 5.5 that's worthy for post users is, obviously we're talking about format support with AMA. So, HDCam SR is the latest format that we've added to the long list already supported with AMA. So HDCam SR and SQ, so it's SR Lite and SQ are the formats that we support. And it's a pretty interesting workflow where the HDCam SR deck with some Sony software copies off the files and turns them into MXF, and then with the AMA plugin that Sony and Avid worked on together, you're able to read that stuff with that immediate and direct access that AMA is known for, with all the metadata. So it's a pretty cool workflow. As you guys know, an HDCam SR deck is pretty expensive. It's pretty, not a lot of people want to be sitting there all day rolling back and forth on those decks. And so if you can get the footage off, let it be available for everybody on the network, use AMA to get the footage in. It's very cost-effective use of that deck. So some nice workflow improvements there. But, we're open to everybody. And we actually did some cool work with Panasonic, too, with 5.5. And we have a new Nitrous DX AVC Intra box. So this is pretty cool. Those of you who have Nitrous DX already, don't worry. Even a guy like me can open the top, take off the 4 screws, and put in this new little chip right into it. It's a user upgradable module that you can put in. And then you can actually get capture from tape into AVC Intra format right in Media Composer, Newscutter, and Symphony. So this is very cool. And for customers who are using AVCI and want to capture that, edit with it, and then keep it for the rest of their pipeline, it's a very powerful system. A lot of people talk about the different engines that are used out there these days. There's, Adobe talks about their Mercury player. I think it's a great time to remind people that Avid Intelligent Architecture was something that was released with version 3 of Media Composer software at NAB in 2008. And that's an architecture that takes a look at your whole system. It looks at the CPU, the GPU, and whether or not you have any DX hardware attached. And then it's going to dynamically assign the work that the editor is giving the system to the component best suited to the job. So whether that's the CPU, the GPU, or DX hardware. So in the case of AVC Intra, with Nitrous DX AVC Intra, you got a lot of power right on that box. So it really speeds up the work that you're doing with that format. So you're getting 5 and more streams of real-time playback and effects with AVCI. So that's great for people in post and television who are using that format.
I know we have to wrap up in a minute or two, but I know that you guys have stereo tools already in the system. Can you talk about any advancements that you've done in 5.5 and anything that might be coming?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Well, first of all, we have some amazing presentations on the booth, and just the way that you're streaming some of this stuff, we've actually got some of our own content going live on the web. So even if you're not here in Vegas, you could see some of those great presentations. But starting with version 3.5 of Media Composer, we have stereoscopic editing tools. Many of the projects that are well known, including Tron 3D that we're showing on the booth, have been edited with the stereo tools that are in Media Composer already. But what we've been working on is based on a lot of feedback we've been getting from our customers who are doing all this work, and we've got some really cool technology that we're giving a preview of up in the booth. So this is not shipping product yet, it's some stuff we're cooking up in the labs, and basically it's addressing a lot of the tools that editors are going to need in order to work with convergence and titling, color correction, doing all the different parts of the work that are going to help you to finish off a project, or at least get it further down the chain and closer to what you might want to send off for final finishing and grading in some other systems. So really giving the ability to people to, the important thing is to be able to put on the glasses in the room, or depending on your monitoring setup, maybe no glasses, but be able to see right in editorial whether or not your stereoscopic work is cutting. Is it working? Am I going to be able to tell a good story here or not? So that's what we're working on. But then actually to be able to, just like with the rest of the effects tools in Media Composer, start to really previs and start to work it up. And it's an important part of the storytelling process to see what something is going to look like. So, we're going to add all those great convergence and alignment tools, titling, color correction, everything that you want to do with stereo footage that you would want to do with mono footage. So anyway, that's some of the stuff we're working on, and there's some great technology demos up in the booth.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you, Angus.